Tying up another Carrie Stevens streamer from the Hilliard book today. This is called the Green Hornet. Very similar to a video, or I should say a fly I did just a little while ago called the Carrie's Fancy. The body is just a silver tinsel. The Carrie's Fancy has a throat of white hackles with a golden pheasant crest. This is just a throat of golden pheasant crest in it, and it has, both of them have white bucktail for a belly. The wing on this is green instead of magenta like the Carrie's Fancy, but it has a golden badger hackle in it. It's the full length of the green, and it has a shoulder of yellow golden pheasant rump feather, which is kind of interesting. I've never worked with that before. And then a cheek of the jungle cock. And it has a head with, it's black with a green band. First time I've seen a fly that she has done with a green band in it. That is the Green Hornet. I'll get started tying. I'm going to start the Green Hornet with my hook and the vise. This is a Partridge CS15 in a size 4. A little bit longer. The CS15 is a 10x long streamer hook, and it's a little bit longer because the hackles that I have are nice and long. So I like to make them just a little bit longer. I'm going to begin by debarbing the hook. Then I'm going to attach my thread. The thread, I'm starting out with a Danville 3/0 and a white. Even though the body is made of silver tinsel, you don't have to use the white if you don't want to. I do out of habit, and plus the 3/0 will cover the hook shank a little bit quicker, so I'm not spending so much time just putting in a base layer of thread, which is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to wrap my thread all the way down to the back and then back in the front so I can tie in the tinsel up front and then apply it as a 2-layer tinsel body. So with the base layer of thread applied to the hook, I'm going to attach my tinsel. As I said, it's a silver tinsel body. I'm using a Danville silver and gold Mylar tinsel in a size 10. I usually get somewhere in the neighborhood of 12, 13 inches out, just to make certain that I have enough for a double layered body. So that means I'm tying this in up front with the gold side up. I will flip it over to the silver side to actually wrap it in, and I will wrap it all the way down to the end right here just in front of the point and back up in 2 layers. I like to do this when I have an all silver tinsel body, especially with the Mylar. I just think it gives me a much more uniform silver look to it. I don't end up, if you do 1 layer, you can end up with some gaps, and that's the nice thing about the white thread. The gaps don't show up so well, but you can end up with some gaps. This way, the second layer will generally cover up those little inconsistencies. To make this a little bit more durable, I'm going to add a thin layer of Dave's Flex Cement along those thread wraps. I've done this in other videos. If you want to take a look at Carrie's Fancy or any of the Rangeley favorite flies, streamers that I did recently, all of these had the same thing, silver tinsel body, and all of them I did this way with a double layer of tinsel. The Flex Coat, or I should say the Flex Cement, a layer of Flex Cement on here, just helps to hold that Mylar down to the hook shank a little bit better, so that if when you're fishing this, the Mylar happens to get broken, it won't all come unraveled on you. Now I'm going to apply that Mylar tinsel down the hook shank and back up, and then I'll secure it in the head space. Two things you might have noticed while I did this. first is I have some gaps here. Now I put those gaps in intentionally. They're right here. You can have some gaps, and you can see the white thread is darkened up just a little bit because of the flex coat on there. But I left those in there intentionally so that you can see how that second layer just goes over the top of those and covers those right up. You don't end up, when you have two layers like this, having as many gaps or basically as many mistakes, faults, whatever you want to call them, in the tinsel body. It's not as critical that you have every wrap be just perfect when you have when it is for a single layer. The other thing you might have noticed is when I wrapped the tinsel in down to the back here, I stopped and I ran my fingers over the body, that first layer. Had some of that flex cement squeeze out between the layers here. Rather than try to wrap it down and have it squeeze out on the second layer, I actually just spread it along that first, so it helps to get that second layer and glued down to the first layer a little bit more. You could, if it squeezed out afterward on the second layer, you could just as easily spread it around then, just to mitigate any bumps of glue sticking out there. But so now our body is in, our silver tinsel body is in. The next step is a belly of bucktail. I'm just using some white bucktail for this. I've already got my bucktail out and I've stacked this up. You don't have to stack it, but I've taken to liking the, at least for the videos and for show, having it stacked. I think it looks just a little bit neater. If I were, and this is going to be a fishing fly, but if I were tying this mostly just to fish, I wasn't as concerned as doing this in a video and everything, I probably would not stack it. I don't mind it having that taper to it. I don't think that it's something that attracts the fish or deters the fish anymore. So you could do either one that you like. I'm going to trim away the excess bucktail. And I'm going to smooth that off just a little bit. Now the head on the Green Hornet is green, I should say black, with a green band. But I'm going to attach my green on here and then put black bands on it later. I don't have a green thread, and it's tough to find a manufacturer that has just a green, like a Kelly green or something like that, a Highlander green thread. Most all of them are some version of an olive thread, a light olive or an insect olive or something like that. I'm going to use a UTC Ultra Thread 70 Denier in an olive. This is an olive green color, about the closest that I have. If you can find something, possibly even some floss in a lighter green, the green would show up a little bit better in the head. But I think the end result, this still looks just fine. So I'm going to attach my green thread, securing the white, and trim away the white thread. The throat on the Highlander green is nothing but Golden Pheasant crest. As I mentioned, this is a similar fly to the Carrie's Fancy. Hers has a white hackle throat with a topping of some Golden Pheasant. We're going to use just some Golden Pheasant on this, and because of that, I double up on the feathers here. I have 2 of them here. You could even do 3 if you want to get a little bit more color in there. But I'm assuming that it was only 1 or 2 because it's not really pronounced, but they're wanting to get some golden color in there. Now, as I pointed out before, I like to tie these in close to the base. And I'm going to get 3 or 4 wraps, not too tight in here, of my thread to secure that. And then I prefer, to holding it in position, pull the feather to my right, getting it into position and the length that I'm looking for. Often I get better results. Now this one, of course, because I'm looking for good results for a YouTube video, it does not. It twisted on me here, but now I can At this point, take this and twist this a little bit more underneath. But if that doesn't work, I just undo it and start over again. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries here, and I haven't done anything with this this crest feather. I haven't. You can wet these down, and you can let them dry along like a tumbler, rock glass whiskey tumbler, or a snifter, sherry snifter, or something like that, to get the shape in them and collect them a little bit more. But I find generally if I just take my time with it, I'll get it in the position that I want. You want it to go about halfway down the belly. It's a little bit further, that's fine. I don't really like to break my thread in the middle of that, but sometimes that happens. So I will secure that, reattach my thread, and we'll continue. So with my thread reattached, trim away the excess here, thread, and then I can trim away the excess pheasant crest. And then smooth all this down. Now there is no peacock herl on this for the wing. It is just the actual hackles for the wing that we tie in here. The wing for the Green Hornet is some green hackles. So there's 2 green hackles flanked on each side by a golden badger hackle. Unlike the Carrie's Fancy, the golden badger hackle was slightly shorter than the magenta hackle. These are the same length. Then there is a shoulder of a yellow golden pheasant rump feather. So if you got a golden pheasant skin or can get a hold of the rump section, it has these nice yellow feathers in there. That's what the shoulder's made of, with a cheek of jungle cock. I'm going to match up the tips of those and trim away the excess on that rachis. And then I'm going to tie these in. I want to tie these in on top, but towards my side of the head of the fly. Get a few wraps to secure that and make certain I have it in the position that I want. Use my fingernail or thumbnail to scooch that around just a little bit if I want to get that in the position that I need. And then I'll do the same with the other wing. Scooch that up just a little bit. Get about a half a dozen wraps on the end there just to make certain that I have that in the position I want. And that seems to be looking pretty good. Both of these are kind of cocked up just a little bit. I like the hackles to generally flow down along the sides, but sometimes the hackles don't want to do that for you. Swimming in the water, I don't think it really matters. There are some that are tied right on top so that they do kind of cock up, but then some that are all down along the sides, specifically they do it that way. But ultimately, when it's swimming in the water, I don't know that it makes that much of a difference. Now, I may be wrong. I don't have a huge amount of experience fishing these or trolling these flies, so I could be wrong there. With both of those secured in, I'm going to go down to the eye of the hook and I'm going to shape the head of the fly. And this is just smoothing everything off, making certain I have all of those butt ends of that rachis, the wing and everything, all covered up. and fairly smooth. If you want to get it really, really smooth, you could flatten your thread. I don't think it's really, really necessary. I'm going to put some wax on my thread at this point so that when I do my whip finish, that wax will keep the thread from popping out from underneath all of those thread wraps. Tighten that down and I'll trim away the green. I'm going to attach my black thread, which is a Danville 70 Denier in black. And this I'm just going to, like all these other videos, I'm going to attach this on the rear portion and put in the rear band, which is about a third of the width of the head, and then reattach it in the front to put in the front band. This is, if you're new to these videos, and this is the first one that you've ever seen where I tie these streamer flies, Carrie Stevens was known for having a band of color in the heads of the flies that she tied. And she did it a bit different, and I'm working on learning that and at some point showing that how that was done. I think part of the reason is that they didn't have the modern threads that we have, so they had to do a little bit different. Plus, she tied them by hand. I find that if I put all black on here and then try to put the green band on, or red band or orange band, whatever the color, the band of color gets darker because of the underlying black. So I find that it looks a lot better. The end result is a lot nicer by using the base color as the band of color and then putting the black on top of it. Not bad. I mean, this is an olive, so it's a little bit darker. If you have, you know, a red, orange, or even a pink band of color in there, then it can really, having that black thread underneath it can really change the hue of it and darken it up. So I attach my thread right behind the eye of the hook, advance it backwards to secure the tag end, trim that away, and then I will complete the width of the front band, making certain that I've got all the green covered up and no gaps. The white portions you see here are not gaps in the thread, it's the wax on the thread, which will dissolve with the head cement that I use. A little bit more wax, and then I will put my whip finish in for front portion. Like I said, that wax just keeps, sometimes when you tighten up on your thread here and you clip it away to get rid of the tag end, you've made the whip finish, sometimes the thread will pop out from underneath those thread wraps. Different things that you can do, and I've mentioned it in other videos in terms of mitigating that, but I found the easiest thing is to just put some wax on the thread, and that will help to keep that from happening. I'm going to put some head cement on here. This is just some Fly Tight. It's a alcohol-based head cement. It's very thin. It's going to soak right down into those head wraps to secure all of that really well. Then I'll come back and I will put 2 layers of a clear lacquer on there, and that's just to protect the thread wraps. That is the completed Green Hornet. Nice looking fly with the green hackles and the golden badger. The yellow, that's the first time I used the yellow rump feathers from a Golden Pheasant skin for a shoulder. Then it all turned out pretty handsome. That's the Green Hornet. Thanks for watching today. Thank you for joining me at the Vise today. I hope you learned a new pattern, at least a tip or trick here and there. If you'd like to help Dress Irons, you can like, comment, share, subscribe, all those wonderful things for the video. You can also head out to dressedirons.com where you can buy flies, tools, stickers, and merch, or you can join a growing community over on Locals at the Dressed Irons
Fly Tying Guild. You can also donate to Dressed Irons if you want through the link at the bottom of the description. I thank everybody for their ongoing support, as it really does help the creation of these videos. But what's important is to remember, only fly tying. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.